You've heard people talking about IPAs, but what about Goes, Lambic or Sati? These are all beer styles. Let me tell you why we have them. Hi, I'm Joanne, the Beer School Lady, and I help beer lovers to taste beer with confidence and help them develop their knowledge of the world's favourite beverage. So today I want to talk to you about beer styles. You've probably heard of IPAs, double IPAs, pale ales, best bitter you might have heard of if you're in the UK. You might have heard of stouts and imperial stouts, but there is a wide range of beer styles. And why do we even have beer styles anyway? And who determines what a beer style is? Let's talk about that today. So what is a beer style? Beer styles are the way that we group different types of beer together. We do have written guidelines, but there can be some overlap in these. They are not hard and fast rules. They dictate the look, smell and taste of a beer. They can also have guidelines around what ingredients are used and how the beer is brewed. Again, these are guidelines, so they are just to support brewers and beer creators in how to produce different types of beer, but we see lots of overlap and lots of new things from innovation where brewers just try things out. But why do we have beer styles? So we have written guidelines. Those are used for beer competitions so that people can judge the quality of beer. It's useful to have them for consistency. It's also helpful as beer drinkers because if you know that you like IPAs or pale ales, then usually other beers that are labelled in this way you're probably going to like. But generally it's because we like to have order and put labels on things. However, you will find that there are some beer regions where beer guidelines and beer styles are just scoffed at. In particular, let's talk about the Belgians. The Belgians just like to brew beer that they enjoy. They don't get this whole beer style guidelines thing. They're just going to brew something that they really enjoy. And let's face it, Belgian beer is pretty good. So how are beer styles grouped? We can group them by country and region. So often in some of the written ones, you'll see them grouped as American beer styles, British and Irish beer styles, Belgian beer styles and German and Czech beer styles. Of course, there are lots of other regions and countries that brew beer that are not included within those. They're kind of considered the main ones, but let's not limit ourselves to just those. Sometimes they are grouped by ingredients. So look at Weiss beers that use a lot of wheat. Look at different yeasts, so there's ales and lagers that use different types of yeast, and sometimes they are grouped by brewing technique. But who decides on these style guidelines anyway? The most famous is probably the Beer Judge Certification Program, BJCP guidelines that are used for competitions. The American Brewers Association also has guidelines that we look at, but the UK and Belgium and Germany will group their beers in different ways. So it's important to think about that when you go to different countries or you look at beers from different countries. But generally, a lot of these styles came about because brewers and consumers called them that type of beer. Let's look at the bitter. If you look at a best bitter and extra special bitter from the British beers, they are not as bitter as we would expect to today's standards, but back at the time when they were being made, they were more bitter than the darker porters and stouts that were available. So consumers asked for the bitter beer. Brewers took this up and now we have the beer style of bitter. If you need some good resources for looking at different beer styles, go to the BJCP website or the Brewers Association website. There are links in the description below. They have downloadable resources on their style guidelines. The BJCP guidelines are only periodically updated, but they were just updated in December 2021. So there are some newer styles, air quotes newer, that have just been added in, or styles have been moved around. So it's a good idea to have a look at the newest version if you haven't yet. There are also books that you can look at to learn about beer styles. One of my favourites is Let Me Tell You About Beer by Melissa Cole, or Beer, Taste the Evolution in 50 Styles. It's even in the name. This one's by Natalia Watson. So if this video has made you passionate about beer styles and you want to learn more, why don't you come and join me in my beer membership, the Beer Tent Society. We look at a new beer style every month. You will get history about the style and a style guideline information, and then we do a live tasting together as a community to see what this beer style is all about. Come and join us in the tent via the link in the description below. Or you can check out my A Little Bit About series on different beer styles. Click on the playlist that's on your screen now.